Yeah, sure. It always means something. Um, I enjoyed my time there, and you always look forward to competing against people that you know.
Derek Carr, you know him very well. What does he offer as a quarterback?
Derek's a good player. He's having a good year, probably as good a year as he's had since year two of our time being there, when he really tore it up. So he's doing a nice job directing the offense, making a lot of throws, and he's got some good weapons, and they're doing a nice job with him.
Speaking of Derek Carr, is there anything as you're from afar as you're watching that kind of just stands out that's different on tape? Things you kind of see is where he's grown from maybe from when you had him?
Not really. The same guy. He was good when we had him, and he's good now. He's doing a nice job. I think he's leading the league in passing right now, and they have weapons, and they do a good job of getting them open and him delivering the ball to them.
Guys, Jamin Davis, just in his progression, obviously we talk about this throughout the year. Where is he at this point? What's been different for you from him maybe during this surge you guys have had?
Yeah, I mean, for all of us, I think, guys, we're coming together, I think, playing with more certainty, a better understanding, more confidence. So I think, Jamin, I think the entire defense, we're just working hard at it. It's every week you've got really good players and really good coaches that you're preparing for a new set of challenges. I feel like we've kind of gotten into a good rhythm in terms of how we work, how we, very urgent in our preparation, very diligent, in studying the opponent, understanding the things we've got to be able to take away and the things we've got to be alert for. And I think, Jamin has been a part of that. We're defensively, we're doing a much better job of kind of dialing it in, understanding the things we need to do, and then going out and playing for each other on game day.
Jack, can you put your finger on hi, Jack.
Where we at? Oh, there you are.
Oh, what's going on, Jack? Can you put your finger on, since the bye week, what has just helped with this turnaround on the defensive side of the ball? Is there anything you could put your finger on specifically, or any number of different things that have led to the defensive turnaround in recent weeks?
Again, I think it's more just kind of staying about the process, continuing to work. We didn't fracture when it was a very adverse time earlier in the year. I thought we continued to stay together, continued to work hard, and that's what gives you a chance. I've been doing this a long time. Teams that are able to kind of withstand that and stay together and keep working have a chance for better things late in the year. And we just got to continue to do that. Be urgent, work hard, stay together, and make plays for one another.
Then I'm just curious, your time with Oakland, is there anything, any takeaways that you've carried with you, in your coaching or anything along those lines? Anything you learned from that coaching job that you continue to use to this day, or anything along those lines?
Well, you obviously learn from your experiences, along the way. I think with all of them, I have learned something and moved on, and try and be as positive as I can, appreciating the times I had, and looking forward to next year.
Last thing, and this is just a fun one, but obviously Derek Carr was with you when you were there. Can you name the other two Raiders players that are still on the roster that were with you when you were in Oakland, out of curiosity?
I'm sorry,
I said obviously Derek Carr was with you when you were
Yeah.
with the Raiders, but can you name the other two players that are still on the roster that were there that you brought in as well too?
Are there any other players there?
There are two.
Who are they?
It's Nick Merle and Jalen Richard.
Okay. Nick's still hanging in there. Okay, good.
Jack, I want to ask about the secondary. Why do you think the secondary has had as much success as they've had in the past, more recently, these past couple of games?
Again, I think it's rushing coverage coming together a little bit better. I think the understanding of where we belong and how we fit together has been stronger. All the work that we're putting in is paying off, and I think that the way we have approached our preparation, coming out of the bye, I think has been stronger, more focused, more urgent, and that's what we're looking for.
Ask about the Raiders, their receiving core. They lost a couple of guys, and obviously Waller, his status is up in the air. What have you seen from the other receivers, like Hunter Renfrow? What do you seen from some of the other guys on the roster who maybe haven't seen as much time on the field?
Yeah, they've got a good group. Deshaun adds some speed over the top that they lost with Ruggs. Deshaun's been a good player for a long time in this league. You look at Waller, you look at Renfrow. They've got some weapons. They've got two very capable backs. They've got a big offensive line. They've got a really good quarterback. So, and the tight ends are really good players. Waller's special. So, we've got our challenges in front of us. We're looking forward to going out there and competing and getting this offense slowed down.
Jack, is there a way to quantify what it has meant for Landon to kind of accept this new role and thrive in it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's not as drastic as maybe it's been made out to be. We're utilizing, the talent we have available, putting people in position to do things that they can do well, and that's our job as coaches, And I think the fact that there's been a little bit of a shift, and I think the fact that he has been really positive and really tremendous as a leader, as a positive energy guy, in the room, I think all of that is outstanding. But that's what we expect, But he has delivered, and so I commend him for that.
And the importance of having all three of your safeties out on the field at the same time. What does that allow you to do that maybe you couldn't do if you had to pick two of the three?
Yeah, I think, from a disguise standpoint, from, an application standpoint, we're able to do things with those guys. They're great working together. They communicate well, and we can alter roles. We can do things to take advantage of their skill set. And the key is to be able to do it and coordinate it and understand where you belong for each other, and I think they've done a great job working together on that.
At least looking at it from the outside, the Raiders are a very unique organization. How do you explain that culture and what it's like being in that?
How do I explain it?
The black hole, and they're portrayed as, I guess, the bad guys in the league, I would say, from the outside. What was it like being inside?
I grew up right there, so I grew up right there. Well, not in Vegas, but I grew up right there in Oakland, and grew up a Raider fan. So it's what I know. It's what I was growing up. I've always enjoyed competing against them when I'm there, and I enjoyed the time when I was the head coach, and thought we had a good solid run while I was there. But it's unique. I think the fans there are tremendous, and this will be a great experience for our guys to go into that atmosphere.
Specific to Deshaun Jackson, is there a coaching point or a teaching point that you want to emphasize with making sure he doesn't catch a long one?
Yeah, we don't want anybody to catch a long one. So he's definitely a guy that can go vertical. We recognize that. They have several players that are capable. Edwards, gets vertical. Jones gets vertical. They've got a good group, and they got a quarterback that's getting the ball to them. So we got to be on top of it.
Apologies if this has been asked, but did anyone ask you about the improvement on third down?
Did who?
Did anyone ask you about the improvement on third down?
Nope.
No, okay, so that's kind of my question. I think you guys have had the 8th best third down defense over the last 3 weeks. Just what do you?
It's been improved. It needs to continue to be. Continues to be a point of emphasis. Something that is really the key. The best way you stop a really good running team is to get off the field on third down. The best way you stop an offense from generating a lot of points, a lot of yards, is to get off the field on third down. So we've been better, over the last month or so. We'll continue to emphasize that. We need to continue to win our battles and, and be able to get ourselves over there, enjoying some Gatorade and give our offense the ball back.
You've talked about John Allen keeping the same effort that he has in years past, and I think one of his teammates has mentioned, maybe his hump move is helping him a little more. Is there anything specifically you can put your finger on that might be different that's allowing him to have the type of success he is this year?
I don't really have anything that I can say is the determining factor. I think, John works at his trade. He's professional. He's got some signature moves that he goes to that you better be ready for. And then he's got counters off it. But I think he's doing a real good job. He's having a good year. And, we need that to continue.
I think there's a lot that goes into that. It's not a change of philosophy. I think every game plays itself out differently. I think every game you look at how you match up against a team, and we felt pretty good about the ability to run the ball in the last 2 games. And then also, we were successful running the ball. So, when you're doing that and you're playing downhill, you take the pressure off of the quarterback. You take the pressure off the offensive line to have to pass protect against, good pass rushers. So, it helps. Now, in order to do that, you got to convert third downs, and, other than the 3rd and 1 disaster that we got ourselves into in the 3rd quarter, we did a really nice job of that the last 2 games, really the last 3 games. And that allows you, it gives you more plays, so you can call more runs. If you're going to run the ball, you're probably going to end up in more third downs. It's just part of the deal, so you got to convert them. But we've done a nice job of doing that. I think we kept it balanced. I mean, obviously in the Carolina game, we were skewed heavily run, but again, it was successful. So just being able to get after those guys a little bit, and then this past game, we just had so many plays. I mean, we still threw the ball 35 times. We had 43 runs, and we were up in the second half, after that first drive. So a lot of that has to play into it. I've said this before, just like when, we've had these conversations when we've been pretty pass heavy. Games come up differently, and if you want to be a good offense, or want to be, especially if you want to be a great offense, you got to be able to beat people with the run game. You got to be able to beat people with the pass game, and you got to be able to do it all, because otherwise teams are too good, the coaches are too good in this league, the players are too good that they can take you one thing away or the other.
As a play caller, is there ever, even when the run is working, is there ever a tendency to say, okay, I know these efficiency numbers, maybe we should throw it a little bit more, or is it just, hey, we got to stick with what's working?
You're always going to be balanced, but I think when the run's working, it makes you really feel like you can call any play on the sheet. You know what I mean? When you're having some issues running the ball, that's when it gets a little bit tougher. It just lets you play a little bit more free.
What have you noticed as the difference between the offensive line? I know they're playing well, but they've played well all season. But is there a difference when you guys are having the success the way you are on the run game? Or is there something they're doing differently?
They're happier when we run the ball a lot more. No, the offensive linemen, they want to run the ball. That's just the nature of the position. You wouldn't want it any other way. But no, it's a lot. It's not easier, because it's running the ball is hard and blocking guys up front is hard. But there's a lot less pressure on them, when you're running the ball, and the defensive line is having to play both instead of just having to drop back in pass pro. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of talented rushers in this league, and I think that kind of can take a little bit of pressure off of them when you are running the ball successfully, because again, the defense, they gotta play the run, and if you're running the ball and you're getting 4, 5, 6 yard gains, then they got to put an extra emphasis in stopping the run, which makes gives you more time to throw the ball, gets more reaction from play action pass on the second level. It just all ties in together that way.
And generally, what is John Masco's role in helping produce the run game? Obviously, he's the offensive line coach.
He's the guy. He puts the run game together with some of our other assistant coaches as like the preliminary run game, and then we'll meet on it. We'll adjust it. I'll have conversations with him about which ones he likes the most. We rank them, and then ultimately I call the plays. But I lean on him a lot. He's a great coach. He's been doing this for a long time. Me and him have worked together a lot, so I trust him. And he's the guy. He's the guy that gets it going, and he coaches those guys, and puts a lot of pressure on them and holds them accountable. His standards are very high, and as all of ours are. But Coach Matsko's a great coach and does an outstanding job with all of our stuff, but especially the run game.
I know this isn't strictly speaking your division, but when something happens like you don't have a kicker and it alters the game, and Kyle's trying to figure out how to be a holder on the fly, do you guys meet during the week and reevaluate and make sure you got all your emergency spots buttoned up?
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, to me, I got a lot of stuff I got to worry about, and that's like there was special teams and like all that I know. I mean, obviously I know more now, but during the game, I saw him get hurt. What happened? I saw it in the box, and I said, "What's going on with the kicker? He's out." And I go, "Okay." And I go, "So, coach, are we just going for it in plus territory and 2-point plays from here on out?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "All right, sounds good." You know what I mean? So that was it. And honestly, like it's not my job. And you know, sometimes there's a guy on a team that can kick. Other times maybe not. And it's more so than just like being able to kick the ball through the uprights on air. Like there's a mechanics to it. You know, again, you got to get the ball kick off in a certain amount of time. It's got to get lifted, you know, in the air. And so, you know, for us, we just felt like it was better chances for us to go for it. And we went with that. And we, you know, obviously had some success. Would have liked to get that last 4th down. Getting the 2-point play was obviously huge. That was the difference in the game. But yeah, I mean, those are just things that you just never know what's going to come up. You know, you got to kind of be ready for anything.
And going back to that last end of the game, there were 3 3rd-and-1s where I think you guys didn't convert on all 3
Right.
with Antonio. Going back and look, I know you got the confidence to keep calling his number, but what was the takeaway?
Yeah, we just, you know, they did a nice job up front. You know, we had some things where, you know, we could have potentially executed a little better on a couple of those plays where we're maybe getting up to the next level. We could stay on the down guys just because we need a yard. You know, but their guys made plays, and we've been really successful in that situation really over the last couple of years, but even, you know, this year. And, you know, we just kind of went through that stretch where, you know, we didn't get them. But we'll evaluate, look at what we're doing, make sure we're not giving away too many tendencies and those types of things. You're normally not in that many 3rd-and-1s over the course of a game. But, you know, hats off to them for making those stops.
I know you've mentioned accuracy and decision-making as two of the most important things for quarterbacks. Have you seen improvement from Taylor in both those areas this year?
Yeah, I think his accuracy has always been there. You know, you're not going to make every throw, you know, but I think that's stayed pretty consistent. The decision-making, though, yeah, I think he's making decisions faster. You know, kind of with authority. You know, when he makes a decision, he guns it, or, you know, he makes the throw the way we're supposed to make it. I think it's just experience and just seeing things over and over again. But absolutely, his decision making has improved. And, you know, not to say that he doesn't make bad decisions from time to time, because everybody does. But you just want to make a lot more good than you do bad. And I think that's continued to be the case.
Emphasis on the passing game nowadays in the league. Where does the run game fit in terms of importance? I mean, can you win with a primarily run-first offense anymore?
I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, going back to like somebody's earlier question, I think you got to be able to do it all. You know, I mean, if teams are going to play you, you know, top down and dare you to run the ball, then you got to be able to be successful running the ball. But like, even against Carolina, like, yeah, we ran the ball great. We had 190 yards. All 3 of our touchdowns were touchdown passes. Like, you had to throw it into the end zone. You know, we had a 10-yard run for a touchdown in Seattle. We threw a screen for a touchdown. Like, you gotta be able to throw the ball to score. You know, you have to be efficient in both. In some games, you know, you might be heavier pass. Like, we, you know, obviously played the Giants in week 2, and we were very good offensively. We had a very successful game. And it was mostly because we threw the ball, you know, and, you know, there's going to be games like that because they were a team that, you know, they got big guys up front. They're going to overload you in the box, and they're going to dare you to throw the ball, and you got to be able to do that. So you can't let a defense make you one-sided. Some games, again, it might be run heavy. Some games it might be pass heavy. But those are the best offenses in the league that can do that. You know, they can be successful doing both.
We've got time for one more, guys. Coach Turner's meetings.
You're getting obviously healthier tight end now. Logan back. It looks like Ricky was practicing today. Once those guys are back, probably means less work for Sammis Reyes, but he's obviously been playing more of late. So just curious, kind of where is he in his development? all things considered?
You know, Sam's has been doing well. He didn't play as much this past game, but he did play quite a bit. You know, obviously we got Logan back. He played and really did a nice job against Carolina in the 12 personnel stuff. I know, I'm not going to speak for Nate, but just listening to him in the meetings, he's really raved about where his development on special teams has been a big key to us in special teams. You know, that's just something we're going to have to evaluate. You know, it's a good problem to have. You know, you got guys. I mean, we went from a couple weeks ago to having, you know, 2 tight ends and, you know, guys that had really never played before, and now we're starting to get guys healthy again, and now it's like a bonus. And, you know, we'll have to, you know, you can only have so many guys active on game day, so that's something as a coaching staff that we're going to have to look at and decide, you know, who's going to be up. And it's not just offense, you know, sometimes it's who's going to contribute for those 25 snaps or so, whatever it is, on special teams, because that's a big part of the game.
Honestly, the hammy felt better the next day than it did during the game. So I loosened up somehow, and, yeah, I feel good today too.
And when you go back and watch it, like, what were some of the things that you say, okay, first game back, this is where some of this sloppiness that you know you'll be able to correct moving forward?
Yeah, footwork, hand placement, just body control, how the defensive line is going to release based off of timing of plays. Just basically technique in the run game. Pass game, I felt okay, felt fine. But run game is, you know, you start reverting back to the things that you do when you don't practice it a whole lot.
Logan, because you're in a room with guys who are rookies and a guy like Samus, who's, you know, obviously a relative novice to this whole thing, kind of forget sometimes that, you know, this is not your natural position. And I'm just wondering, for you this year, what's been something that you kind of entered to working on that obviously had the injury hiccup, but that you've been progressing towards, you kind of feel like you've taken another step towards?
For me, there's a couple things in the pass game that I wanted to work on, and just talking about releases, better with my hands, like while running routes and keeping guys' hands off of me, which early in the season I was doing a whole lot better with, and didn't really have a chance this past game, but games going forward I will. But ultimately the run game is what separates, you know, all-around tight ends from just receiving tight ends, and that's where I want to be better. That's where I was playing pretty well earlier in the season, just using the physicality that I'm supposed to be using and the techniques I'm supposed to be using.
You were with Taylor playing on the field, then you were out kind of watching him from the sidelines and in practice. Now you're back in the huddle. How has he transformed throughout the season, do you think?
The transformation hasn't really been anything different in my eyes. It's just been he's being more consistent. He's playing with a lot of fun. He's playing with a lot of excitement, playing with a lot of love for the game and love for his teammates. And when you play like that, good things are going to happen. And when you're playing when you're all in your head or thinking about outside things, then that's when you start to second guess things and you don't play with a clear mind. That's a little bit tougher. But for him, he's going out there playing, having fun. He's going to continue to have the success that he wants.
Logan, back when you signed your extension, I asked you about what is the next step for you? What do you do with this contract, or where do you want to go from here on out? And you said that you want to make your teammates 5% better. That's the thing for you, is teaching other players. During your absence, I'm curious, where did you see some things maybe that you had told John Bates or Ricky Seals-Jones? Like during that time where you weren't there, where were places you saw things that you would give them advice on, or things maybe to pay attention to? Where could you see that in their play necessarily?
Yeah, I think you saw what Ricky could do in the pass game. Super smooth, athletic, made plays on the ball, one-hand catches, all the above. But the things that most people won't see that Ricky did well is how he played in the run game. He got his hat inside. He fought his tail off. He gave him everything he's got for a 240-pound tight end, a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm super proud of what he did there. He's transformed himself into a complete tight end as well. I think Pete Hayner would tell you the same thing. And, hopefully next year, because he's only on a 1 year, hopefully that bodes well for him. And then John Bates, I'm super proud of that guy. I knew we had in him as a blocker, but I wasn't sure what we would get him as a receiver. And, he's done a great job when he gets the ball in his hands. He knifes it up the field, gets those extra yardage. And in the run game, he's just dominant. I don't know that he's lost really a matchup all year in the run game. And he moves people when he wants to move people, creates massive holes. And the thing about him is that he's absolutely relentless with his effort. He never quits. He's always the last one blocking. And, with a guy like that, you love to have him on your team, in your corner. And super proud of the way those guys played while I was gone.
And then then just, I don't know if this may be the right way, but does it take pressure off of you to know that if there was something that happened to you, say versus last year, like there really wasn't as much support behind you, but this year there is a lot more support. Does that take pressure off of you and maybe you don't have to force it as much possibly, or just what is that like when you know that you have that sort of support with your teammates behind you?
I think it just gives you confidence to go play free. And if something does happen, God willing it doesn't, that you know that you're in good hands if something does happen. And I trust all those guys, with this offense if something were to happen again. But like I said, I hope nothing ever does. And, they're just good people. And if you can trust good people, that makes it easy.
After missing that time, did you have to worry about conditioning at all? Was there ever a point in the game where, you were still feeling like you were getting back into football shape?
Yeah, no question. Probably late third, early fourth. There was a couple plays where I could really feel that I just didn't have the pop that I had or the strength that I had. But there's no excuses when you're out there. You just got to play it to the best of your ability. But as this week is going on, I feel like my conditioning's kind of back. I was able to go through practice today. Didn't really miss any reps. Was full tilt. Legs didn't get tired. So, happy to be trending back to where I was.
What do you, just in watching Taylor Heineke, working with him, where do you feel like the biggest improvement has been in his game this year?
On who?
Taylor.
Consistency. And like I was saying earlier, he's just playing fun, playing free. When he can do that, he can play free. Your brain's free, your mind's free. And you don't have to worry about the outside. You don't have to worry about what people think about you, or if you make a bad play here, what people are going to say. Then you're going to play better. And honestly, that's where he's at this point in his career and this point this season. He just doesn't care. He's just going to go play how he wants to play. And if anybody says something, let them say whatever. Screw them. I'm going to do what I do.
Unrelated but very important. How big is Penelope, size-wise?
She's probably about this big right now at 10 weeks. I think they measured her as soon as we got her. I think she was like 33, 34 pounds. So she's a big pup.
How big is she got?
So her mom is 170. Her dad's 185. Yeah, but she'll be the second biggest dog in our family. And we got an English Mastiff that's probably right about 200 pounds right now.
You talked about hand placement a couple times. In addition to conditioning, when you come back from an injury, how long does it take you, or what's the process of getting some of those things back, and how do you feel like you're going to continue to build on what you had built on before the injury?
It's just getting back to it in practice, making sure that you handle the small things. Obviously, you cannot simulate a game rep, so you just got to let your practice reps replicate a game rep. Last week, just getting my legs back underneath me in practice. This week, really focusing on the small things, focusing on the targets, hitting my targets, and then understanding the intent of the play.
When you guys are running the ball like the way that you have, can you sense, is there like a mindset thing that you can see the opposing defense kind of, like every time a run is called, does it have like a tangible effect when you're running over and over and over?
Yeah, no question. Defenses don't like when the ball is ran against them. Every single defense in the history of man has said teams aren't going to run the football. Running the football, offensively running the football wins games. You got to establish the trenches, right? And so when you run the ball 40 times in a game, you can just see it. They get tired. They don't like running side to side. They don't like having to chase the ball, break a tackle. The AG is strong. He breaks a tackle, and a defensive lineman from the backside is going to have to tackle him 7, 8, 9 yards down the field. In the fourth quarter, those big guys are tired of chasing that dude down the field. And so, yeah, I mean, the last two games, we're over 170 yards the last two games on the ground. And, yeah, you can definitely tell when they start getting worn down.
Yeah, just wondering if you were following the Virginia Tech coaching search, and Brent probably got introduced today, so he wants to put a focus on engaging with the alumni, what it means to you to be included, and how important that is.
No doubt. In the last regime, I felt like it wasn't as coordinated with the alumni as what it was with Frank. Coach Fry seems like he came from the Frank lineage. He understands what it's like to be an alumni, what it's like to be at Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech has always been known for its defense, and that's what he brings. And I'm excited to see what he does. I'm thankful that we got a guy that knows Blacksburg, knows the state of Virginia, and knows how to recruit Virginia and go get some of the dogs that we used to have, like we did in the program, like we did back in the day.
I think he's a player that you always had to kind of account for when he's on the field in any type of capacity. Kind of during the plays, I'm not really able to assess the defense as much because I usually have a job that I have to get done on that play. But you can definitely tell when he gets the ball in his hands, like you can see the linebackers, their eyes are moving. You can see the flow of the defense. Like everybody's flowing to try to get him on the ground. And I think, his ability to be able to catch the ball out the backfield, his ability to, change direction is very dynamic. And it's something that I feel like as a defense you have to be ready for.
And you guys are a bit banged up. You're coming off a short Monday night game, and you're having to fly west.
Yeah.
What are the challenges in trying to ignore all that and go out and win a game?
Nobody cares, honestly. I mean, we know the Raiders aren't going to feel sorry for us. We know, that's just part of being in the NFL as well. You got to be able to play on short weeks. You're going to have to be able to come back off of wins, come back off of losses. So there's a lot of adversity in an NFL season, even with your schedule sometimes. So everything may not roll the way you would like, but there's no excuse to go out there and not try to put your best performance out there. So I think, our coaches have done the best job that they can to try to just help us get our bodies back as much as possible, try to get a little bit more mental reps than physical. But at the same time, we still need the timing of which, the receivers running routes with Taylor and getting that timing down and DB seeing the ball thrown in the air and things like that. So, it's a balance between trying to get your body and your body back and being mentally ready for the next game. So I think, it'll be a challenge for us, but I think also what helps is the kind of guys we have in our locker room where it's just, you just don't really complain or think about it. You just, move on to the next task at hand.
Terry, I don't know if you're a Vegas guy or not, but it's obviously a destination city for fans, but also sometimes it's a type of place that maybe a free agent or some player might say, hey, that'd be a cool place to go or whatever. Does a destination city, do you think does it matter for you, or do you think it matters for players as much about when they want to go to play for a team, the city itself? How much do you think that kind of matters in such decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a factor I think it may be a factor for certain players. I think everybody would be different, but I feel like most players want to play in a city where the team is embraced. There's a lot of fan attention and it's just a fun city to be in, because the atmosphere is more fun, the games are more fun. There you feel like you have a sense of community around you. So I think each person is different, but I think having those type of advantages, not necessarily even advantages, just a certain atmosphere can add to your experience as a football player. But I think also the main thing is just really you try to focus on just playing football, because whether you're playing in a small city like Green Bay or you're playing in LA, your job is still going to have to be able to play football.
And I know, for one, I'm intrigued by going to see this game because I'm curious about their new stadium. You've now been to a bunch of different stadiums this year and throughout your career. When you go into a new stadium for you as a player, how much do you pay attention to what's there, maybe in the locker room or the other aesthetics around there?
Yeah, I take it in, honestly. You don't know how long you get to play this game, and some players don't even get to see throughout their whole career each stadium. So when I go to a new stadium, I usually kind of record, when I walk out for warm-ups at the beginning of my little warm-up period before I put my pads on. I'll videotape the stadium and just kind of take everything in, because each city and each stadium brings its own unique feelings and aesthetics, like you said. And, when you play at historic places like Green Bay, it just adds a little bit more to it. So, honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing this kind of stadium and what it looks like. And, first time there's football in Vegas. But I think, obviously, at the same time, you just got to continue to focus on the game. But I think it's cool to see different stadiums throughout the league.
Antonio, like you, is a third-round pick, offensive building block. What have you made of what he's done the past 3 weeks, getting nearly 80 carries and
Yeah.
really churning up some yards?
Yeah, he's doing a really good job of carrying the load for us back there. I think he did a really good job of taking care of the ball last week, which I know he wanted to improve on. He's running really hard behind his pads, and I think just the number one thing I've noticed throughout the whole season with him is his yards after contact. There's not too many guys that are taking him down off those first hits, which is huge for us. It's huge for him. And it kind of wears on a defense when you know that back is not going to go down on that first one or two guys that are coming up and hitting them. So I think he's doing a really good job for us, and we're going to continue to need him going down the stretch, especially now that teams know that, we've been running the ball effectively, so there'll be possibly more attention towards that. I think just make sure that it just forces us to be more detail-oriented to make sure we can still execute at a high level in the run game.
And I think for you on the broadcast, there's a stat that said you have the third deepest average depth of target. I might be getting the specifics wrong, but do you feel that? And I know earlier in the year you were saying you want to be more used downfield, make bigger plays. So can you just kind of feel like, I'm getting these passes further than maybe last year, for example?
Yeah, I definitely think we're executing better with plays down the field, not just myself, but a lot of other guys in our room. I think that comes with a guy like Taylor who's not afraid to give us opportunities. I think it comes with us connecting on some plays, and Coach Turner feels more comfortable calling more of them. And I just think it could continue to grow for us. Me personally, it's fun to be able to make plays down the field, and there's just such big momentum swings, and to be able to get chunk plays takes a lot less off your offense because, you have to be able to put those 10, 12 play drives together, but you also got to be able to go and make explosive plays, which is kind of part of our philosophy as an offense. We want to be explosive and create explosive plays. So, that's definitely been fun for us this year.
Where do you think you've seen Taylor improve the most during this 3-game winning streak?
It seems like he's really has a rhythm when he's out there. From when it's like he has a good feel of when he needs to run the ball. He has a good feel of when he needs to stand back in the pocket and stand tall and deliver a pass. He's been evading the rush even when guys have kind of got there. I mean, I was on the field when he ducked the D lineman from the Seahawks and threw that dart to Logan Thomas. That was a hell of a play to be able to evade that, keep your eyes down the field, and create a strike like that. So I just think his poise that he's playing with is really impressive. He's doing a good job of taking care of the ball. I know we had the tip ball last week, but he's taking what the defense gives him, but he's also creating big plays with his legs and his arm, which is very good for us.
In terms of the energy with the offense as a whole, do you feel like there's a different energy coming from you guys and different confidence than maybe there was a couple of weeks ago?
I think we are becoming a little bit more consistent with the way that we're executing when we get down the field. I know we're not on every single drive when we get down to the red zone, we're not scoring, but I feel like we're not stalling out as much as we did previously earlier in the season, and I think that has to continue. Now, granted, I think this week hopefully we're better in those short yardage situations, which I think we will be. I think, like I said in my interview after the game, I think the Seahawks were really, as a whole defense, they may have gave up plays, but when they hadn't got to have it situations, they did a good job of making stops, third downs, red zone, things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to see what the challenge is going to be for us this week. You never really know going into each game, but I think our mindset has to be the same of just being consistent, moving the ball, which I feel like we've done all year. But in those got-to-have-it situations, we got to be able to convert.
Terry, when you guys went on your run last year, there were obviously no fans. Have you noticed a difference as the wins have started to come in terms of the excitement level and noise at FedEx Field?
Yeah, everybody likes winning. The players, coaches, fans, obviously, and I think it's just the consistency of trying to build a consistent winning organization and program. So fans continue to believe in what we're trying to do here. But I think the fans were loud on this past Monday, and hopefully that could continue, and we see more and more throughout our stretch run this season.
Does it feel louder like during the last couple games?
Well, I kind of get to watch defense, so that's when they're the loudest. I think that what was it, the 2-point conversion, that was pretty loud when we needed to have a stop. So I think the fans have been doing a good job of supporting us especially when we need them to be loud.
People talk a lot about the benefits of the run game being something where you can be physical and pose your will. Do you think it would ever be possible to do those same things if you were passing as much as you guys, if you're passing at the same rate?
Yeah. I think running the ball and passing the ball are obviously different, but I think to establish that physicality and establish the line of scrimmage, you do that by running the ball. And I think when we get in these tough games that we have going down the stretch, we got to be able to establish the line of scrimmage. Because if you have D linemen who aren't really, just able to pin their ears back time and time again, it puts our O linemen in a tough spot. They're never on the attack. They're kind of always, pass setting and not able to be aggressive and put their hands on guys, which they love to do. And I think the type of guys we have up front, it fits that skill set of, trying to be physical up front and establish that line of scrimmage. So I think what Coach Turner has been doing a good job of is, when we've been running the ball effectively, we sticking with it, and we've had some games where we've thrown the ball well and we stuck with that. So I think each game poses its own challenges, but I think the way we're establishing the line of scrimmage and getting those tough yards, it just not only physically but mentally to an opposing team, that's tough when you could drive the ball all the way down the field. You're running it when they know you need to run it. You're going to run it and you still convert. So I think it's as much as physically as much as it is physical as it is mental, passing it versus running it.
So if you guys were moving the chains, I guess, by passing the ball, it's still there's just something that is not quantifiable in the run game.
Correct. Yeah. I think you could pass the ball for 400, 500 yards, but if you're not physical in the line of scrimmage, if you can't get those third and shorts, if you can't get it on fourth and down in the goal line situations, then you're probably going to end up losing the game. To be honest, you're going to lose more games than you're going to win them. Personally, you have to have an effective run game in this league to be able to win consistently.
Want to go back a couple weeks. Taylor's touchdown throw to Cam Sims.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are kind of running mirroring
Yep.
routes. What do you remember from that, and what did you see from your angle? Did you think he had it there?
Yeah.
Did it look like it was going to get picked?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we knew we were going to kind of get a man coverage down that close in the red area. When I saw the safety over, I knew I was probably going to get double because the DB, the corner that was going against me at the time, he was playing outside leverage, and I saw the safety with his eyes looking at me. So I knew I was probably going to get double coverage, which means Cam was going to get single coverage. And, we like that matchup. We believe all our receivers have the ability to win in one-on-one situations, especially Cam in the red zone where he has that big body, he has really good hands, and he's able to box out defenders. That really came in handy in that type of play and that type of scheme that we were trying to run because he was able to shield off the DB, and Taylor threw a crazy pass to fit that in that tight window. And so that's what I saw in that play, and it actually worked out really well for us.
And totally random, but playing at Allegiant Stadium, they have one of those roll-out grass fields. You played in Arizona; it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
Do those feel differently than natural grass? Do you feel it as a receiver? Out there?
I've been honestly wondering what kind of grass they had, and when I heard they kind of do the similar method as Arizona. I played in Arizona a few times, and so I'm assuming it's probably a lot similar, the grass type of surface, and I think it's going to be the type of grass. It's almost like playing on a fairway. You know what I mean? And some guys like those longer studs because the grass is so low, you could kind of almost sometimes slip. But at the same time, I think I like playing on grass versus turf personally, but I think it's definitely a lot. It's just a different type of playing surface than what we is. It's both grass, but I don't know if it's for Bermuda versus whatever kind of grass it is. But I'm looking forward to see how it plays. But yeah.
Is one easier on your joints than the other?
Ooh, like grass versus turf?
Yeah, normal field versus like in Arizona.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think when you're able to kind of roll it out and roll it in, it looks a lot more manicured. You know what I mean? Like when you get to at this point in the season, most teams who play on surface grass, like they have to resod it or there's kind of those divots in the ground that are filled in with sand or turf or whatever. So, there's that difference, but I like playing on grass because personally, after the game, you feel a little bit better. And you could notice here when we practice on grass versus having to practice on turf. There's a little bit more soreness, but I think grass is the best for me.